Alright, so hey guys, I'm back and I recovered from the crash. The, what I was talking about before I left was, liquid fuel rocket engines, and I'm gonna take this opportunity now to mention something I neglected to mention before the game crashed. All these liquid fuel engines, all these liquid fuel rockets, they all consume the same type of fuel, liquid fuel and oxidizer. So when you're operating these engines, you're placing liquid fuel and oxidizer tanks on your ship beforehand, and then placing these engines on them for these engines to burn fuel from them. Jet engines burn only liquid fuel but need the atmosphere to operate. Solid fuel boosters come pre-packed with their own solid fuel. And the nuclear engine just consumes liquid fuel, nothing else. So all these liquid fuel engines are literally the same thing. The only difference is they consume fuel at a more powerful rate, and they're for different purposes. For example, this LVT-30 Reliant liquid fuel engine is a 1.25 meter first stage engine. It consumes the most fuel of its class, but it's also the most powerful. This swivel engine is a mid-stage engine. It's got thrust vectoring, so you have easy control over the ship and you can do your gravity turns. The swivel engine is a little bit less powerful, but a lot more fuel efficient, and for mid stages while still being relatively powerful. So you can use it for that last kind of kick to orbit after you burn through your whole first stage. And then the LV909 Terrier liquid fuel engine is your final stage engine and your lander engine. You use it for pushing your final stages to where they need to go, because once you get into space you'll have used up 90% of your fuel and the final stage will be what's left. So this is the most efficient but the least powerful. It's still relatively powerful, because after all it is a lander engine as well. You use it to land on surfaces with no atmosphere, or slow yourself down so you can activate a parachute on a planet with an atmosphere. That's what this engine's for. So it's a final stage and a lander engine, but mainly you'd be using this for landers. If you want to cruise a stage engine, which I'm going to talk about now, cruise stage engines are super fuel efficient, low thrust engines. For example, like this Nerve right here, right? For making burns while you're in space, in between planets or in between moons. Then you go with these atomic rocket motors. However, I don't like to use these. I like to cut these out of my missions, but that's just a preference. If you're new to the game, these are definitely a good option because they are super fuel efficient. They only consume liquid fuel, and you can make missions without having to learn how to do anything like planetary transfer. So yes, this is a good option if you want a cruise stage. Cruise stages you'll only mainly find on interplanetary missions. You don't need a cruise stage for a moon mission, for example. If you're going to the moon or you're going to Minmus, you don't really need that cruise stage. You can probably just get away with having a third stage with one of these lander engines, and the lander engine will get you there, get you on the surface, and get you all the way back to Kerbal just fine most of the time. So don't worry about that until I teach you how to go to other planets, which isn't for a while. And yeah, so there's all these different types of engines, right? These liquid fuel engines, right? This mainsail is the 2.5 meter powerhouse, and the Mammoth here is the 3.75 meter first stage powerhouse. And then you've got your mid-stage engines and everything. So every size of every rocket size class has a first stage pushing engine, a mid-stage engine, and a final stage and landing engine. And then the cruise stage engines are separate from all that. There's different cruise stage engines. I'd argue that the Rhino of the 3.75 meter class can be used as a mid-stage engine as well as a cruise stage engine because of how fuel efficient it is for its size. So yeah, they're just different rockets, can be used for different things. Mix and match, experiment with the liquid fuel engines to see what kind of best fits your mission designs, and go from there. Personally, I do things a really specific way. I make sure I have a really powerful first stage, and let my mid stage be powerful but maybe less fuel efficient, but have it be pretty much all the way to space by the time my first stage burns out anyway. So that way I have more power when I get up there and I can get to places faster, because I feel like the atomic rocket motor just does things too slowly. So I like to design powerful, less fuel efficient rockets to kind of get me to places quicker. And in the end, they do end up being more fuel efficient, because this thing, though it consumes very little fuel, it also has extremely low thrust, which kind of just makes it like any other normal engine anyway. You're going to have consumed the amount, just as much fuel by the time you actually complete the burn that you're trying to do anyway with this engine, as you would have if you just stuck a more powerful engine on there and done it a lot faster, and probably ended up wasting a lot less fuel anyway, because the engine's so much more powerful and it gets things done so much quicker once you're up there. That's just my opinion anyway. Alright, so the last type of engine I'm going to talk about before I close off the engine section is these monopropellant engines. There's only one. And basically a monopropellant engine operates like a normal rocket engine, operates in the staging and everything like a normal rocket engine, but it consumes RCS fuel instead of consuming regular liquid fuel and oxidizer. So that can be useful in certain situations, especially if you're trying to save fuel. So yeah, that's the monopropellant engine. It's radially attachable as well, so you can attach it wherever. It's cool. And it can consume fuel from wherever as well. It doesn't need to be attached to an RCS tank to consume fuel. It's pretty awesome. Alright, so I'm gonna end off the video here, because I'm certain I'm getting close to my 50 minutes. I think I'm just gonna do a single video for each page, and then once it's over, that'll be episode 3. So I'll see you guys in the next one.